Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. My question is, can the Deputy Prime Minister inform Parliament of Fiji Airways charter policies and procedures they follow when processing charter requests? Thank you.
Thank you. The Honourable Deputy Prime Minister, Professor Prasad.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And before I answer this question, I think it is important for me to state this. If the opposition were to be in government and we were in the opposition, and if we were going to ask this question, we would have been told that it's a private company. In fact, it is not. It's a private company in which government has more than 50% share. And that is why, say, as a government, we will present to Parliament the annual reports and the financial reports for Fiji Airways in May. But let me answer this question on the policies and procedures followed by Fiji Airways when processing charter requests. These are normal commercial policies that different organizations have, and they devise this as part of their check and balances and how they offer charter services. Mr. Speaker, Fiji Airways has a very detailed set of procedures when it comes to assessing charter flights. And to begin with, upon receipt of a request, the Fiji Airways charter team gathers all relevant information from the customer, including flight dates, number of passengers, special needs, ad hoc items, potential flexibility on dates and times in case aircraft is not available on preferred dates. An assessment is conducted to determine available resources to support the requested charter, aircraft, crew, etc. Mr. Speaker, if a request cannot be supported with the available resources, the request is declined, and if the resources can support charter, then Fiji Airways proceeds to assessing operational feasibility and cost code. The goal with any request is to ensure that safety and security are achieved, operational feasibility is confirmed, and revenue covers the cost and justifies the effort's complexity and a reasonable amount of risk. Operational feasibility, Mr. Speaker, depending on the nature of the charter, complex geography, short timelines, etc., internal teams such as the operations aircraft crew, safety and security, ground handling and catering crew, etc., are asked to assess the operational feasibility before the cost code is finalized. Mr. Speaker, a comprehensive analysis is conducted to determine the cost of operating the charter to Fiji Airways. This starts with an assessment of the airline's related costs for the proposed routes, such as fuel, crew costs, accommodation costs, catering, insurance, engineering, etc., and the expenses that are associated with any flight. This may also include the cost of flight consolidation, opportunity cost, or cost to cover additional risk, particularly when operating a charter to destinations Fiji Airways doesn't normally operate to. And once an operational cost forecast has been assessed, a profit margin is added to the cost to finalize the quote. The quote is provided to the customer, who then has an option to accept, decline, or negotiate. Fiji Airways may decide not to negotiate the rate. Charter agreement, Mr. Speaker, upon confirmation from the customer, and as I said, which is normal in any charter service, that the cost quote is acceptable and operational feasibility is attained. A charter agreement, usually contract is drafted and provided for sign-off by both parties. Fiji Airways has a template, a charter contract drafted by its in-house legal team that is provided, which can be subject to negotiation and adjustment on a case-by-case basis. On payment, Mr. Speaker, apart from providing a cost code, a payment timeline is negotiated with the customer, and of course it's documented as part of the agreement. And if the customer fails to meet payment milestones, the standard charter contract gives Fiji Airways the right in its direction to cancel the charter and retain a pre-agreed cancellation fee. Alternatively, it would be open to the company to accept revised payment terms. Mr. Speaker, say Fiji Airways standard charter contract requires full payments to be made by no later than 38 days prior to the first charter flight. More complex charters may also require initial deposits to be made before the 30-day deadline to fund costs associated with obtaining approvals and otherwise preparing to operate a charter flight. Many charter requests are made at the last minute and within days or hours of the requested charter flights. So, Mr. Speaker, in a nutshell, each case is assessed individually. And in some cases, Fiji Airways may be willing to accept other payment terms after the charter has occurred. Factors that are considered include credibility, financial or reputational of the customer, previous business activity with the customer, and an assessment or review of past payment history. Passenger taxes are generally finalized and paid within 1 to 2 weeks after the charter operation, and all details are fully accounted. Last point, Mr. Speaker, say the policies and procedures adopted by Fiji Airways to assess charter flights, in my view, and anybody who looks at it would find that it is transparent, it is robust, and all decisions, if you consider the whole policy, is based on
explanation, which we appreciate. During Fiji First time, we never had a travel first, pay later scheme, but now with coalition government, during their time, so-called a private company, which was funded by the government, the pensioners, or we can call it FNPF account holders, we all have shares in it. So, being commercial, my question to you, Minister, is that you did mention about the deposits. My question is, why in this particular case such a small deposit was taken by Fiji Airways when they were assessing this charter?
In fact, Mr. Speaker, we could have done another thing in the Business Committee. We could have said this question is a subject of investigation. And therefore, I don't want to get into the details, but let me say this. That any decision as per the policy, as per what I've described, the company assesses each case on its own merit. Sometimes it may be based on the previous record. The company was involved in charter flights. It could be potential, it could be. So any company that does business will assess the risk. There's always a risk in anything any business entity does. You book a flight, you cancel it. And Fiji Airways has process and procedures. And the CEO is on record to make it very clear that as far as they are concerned, they have a payment plan, that they are confident that whatever is owed to Fiji Airways will be paid. And that's a normal business transaction and decision. So I can't understand why, and this is within the policies, within the procedures, within the operational feasibility, cost feasibility assessment that they make. And these are people who have the experience.
But two parts to this question. One, what is the update on the repayment?
The opposition, as I said, the CEO is on record to say that they have a repayment plan already agreed, and they are confident that what is due to Fiji Airways will be paid. And let me just remind the Honourable Leader of the Opposition, again, government has majority share. The other shareholder is FNP, and the board has communicated that to me as Line Minister. I am confident that the company will do what is in the best interest of the country, in the company and the country, to run the business in an efficient way. And we are very confident in the ability of the people and the board to deal with this in an effective. And Mr. Speaker, let me remind them again they will have the opportunity to peruse, to debate, to discover what was happening in Fiji Airways in the last several years through the annual reports. And that's the standard. That's the standard that this government is setting, Mr. Speaker. That's the standard this government is setting. That's the standard. And that's the standard of democracy, transparency, accountability that we practice on this side.
Oh my gosh!
Oh, what's in the box? See.
It's so new and fresh!
Looks better, eh?
This is everything I could have ever wanted.
What you looking at? Oh, you're gonna have to find out.